What's going on, y'all? We are here at the Ogre Compound in Mount Juliet, Tennessee, and I am here with powerlifting world champion Jennifer Millican. How are you doing today?
Good, how are you, Zach?
Very well, very well. I just want to start by saying thank you so much for your and Wade's hospitality here this morning. We've been here since before the sun came up, and it's a really interesting crew of folks you got out here so early in the morning. Yeah. So let's, speaking of your training environment, tell us what your training is looking like these days, and specifically when you started training here at the compounds.
Okay. I started training here with Wade about 2 years ago, maybe closer to 3. I moved back to Tennessee I'm from Tennessee, moved back here after moving around for a couple of years. I moved back here, I was looking for a powerlifting gym, and this one popped up, came in and did a tour, and Wade told me that training starts at 5:30 a.m. And I took a big deep breath and said, okay.
Wow, so you hadn't been training early in the morning before coming here?
No, previously I trained in the evening. It actually works out a lot better for me because I have 2 young children, so it's a lot better for me to do it while they're still sleeping, and then I can be at home with them at night to, do all the mom things.
Absolutely, absolutely. So one of the tricky things about, for a lot of people with training early in the morning is how you manage your energy, and that's both like sleep and nutrition. So what does the general nutrition strategy look like? Do you eat pre-workout at all?
Yes. So I've been working with a guy for a little over 2 years now, Aaron Thomas. He writes all of my programming and all of my nutrition.
Gotcha.
So as far as nutrition goes, I really, for the most part, just do what I'm told. And so I'll typically have about 5 meals a day. I'll have a pre-workout meal, which is, pretty basic, protein, fat, and carbs. And then during my workout, I'll have an intra-workout shake, just protein and fast-acting carbs. Post-workout, like as soon as I leave, I'll have another shake and fast-acting carbs. And then lunch, and then dinner. And then on my off days, it's about the same, 4 meals, and it's just the same, pretty balanced protein throughout the meal. Try to keep carbs around the workout window.
Yep.
Fat away from it. Pretty basic.
Yeah, totally. Now, when it comes to the training schedule, I guess you had briefly mentioned that I think it's 4 days a week that you're in here. So what does your general schedule and split look like in terms of what you're working on throughout the week?
Sure. On Monday, I bench, do upper body stuff. Tuesdays, we squat. These are the main movements. Thursdays is another bench upper body day. Thursdays I'll do like overhead press, and usually a bench movement too. Fridays the primary movement is deadlift.
Cool. A
lot of the lifts I train twice per week, like bench I hit almost all of them. Bench I hit twice per week, squat twice per week, and deadlift twice per week. Usually, when the primary movement is squat, I'll do like speed deadlifts. When the primary movement is deadlift, I'll do some drop sets and squats.
Yeah, cool. So with powerlifting, of course, there's many different ways to skin a cat. How has your training evolved, let's say, in the course of these past 4 years?
When I first started, I had no idea what I was doing. And
sure.
I originally came in through CrossFit, and then from there figured out that I was pretty strong, and so did a push-pull at my CrossFit gym. I never looked back. So at that time I was really just kind of doing whatever. I really have no idea what I was doing, actually. And then as I started to get into it a little bit more, I came to the Ogre compound and then was training, more regularly with dedicated powerlifters. Whereas before I wasn't necessarily with powerlifters. I was with CrossFitters. And so, you know, that shift and coming to a place where it's just powerlifters was a big change. And then, like I said, about 2 years ago, I started working with Aaron Thomas, and he changed up my programming quite a bit, where I was doing a lot more volume. Like when I first started working with Aaron, I thought for sure I was going to die. But I was doing a lot more volume, and then a little bit more strategic with the wave of this cycle. So, you know, volume, first volume, then we bring in the intensity, and then slowly cut the volume as we peak for the meet. So, yeah.
Cool. So, Aaron is your programming guy.
Yes.
And then it seems to me like more or less Wade is your day-to-day.
Yes, Wade has eyes on me every day. He's in here watching me. He handles me at most meets. Wade has also been competing in strength sports across the board and training people in strength sports for a very long time. And so he has a lot of experience that I can lean on. Sometimes it takes me like, you know, a year or so to figure out what he's talking about, but
Sure.
but it usually all comes around. So
Cool, excellent. And with obviously looking for the next, like over the course of the next few weeks and into the next month, of course we have nationals coming up. Of course you don't have to give us the skinny on what all the numbers are looking like, but what is the general kind of training and mindset approach look like as you're kind of in that last run up to a competition?
You know, I think mostly when you decide you want to do a meet and you're 12 weeks or so out from it, you kind of have these big ideas in your head of what you're going to do and what you're going to hit and how awesome it's going to be, and then you get into the training cycle and you're like, I don't know, what are we going to do here?
Sure.
So I think those last few weeks of training going into it, depending on what your goals are and what it is you have to accomplish, you know, then you kind of start being realistic. I do anyways. Start being realistic about what it is that you're going to actually hit. Like, what is your plan going to be really going to be at the end of the day? Because you can, you know, you can have big lofty goals, which are great, and I'm all about them. But once you get down to it, you got to be like, do I want to be successful at this meet or do I not? And so then, for me, those last few weeks, I kind of zone in on what the plan's going to be for the meet and execute it.
Yeah, awesome. What is, and of course this is a rather large and nebulous idea to unpack, but of course the whole concept of like a championship mindset, utilizing visualization, I know is something that you take quite seriously. Some people are super duper into it. Some people have never even like considered that side of training.
Sure.
But what does that practice and approach look like on your end?
For me, when I first started lifting, one of the biggest challenges that I faced was platform performance. You know, when I first started lifting, I was really strong. Like, looking at other people's numbers, I was like, this can't be right. But then come meet day, I just couldn't put it together. I would get really nervous, I would not hit depth, I would, you know, severely underperform compared to what I was doing in the gym. And, you know, a lot of that for me was being nervous, and that was something I kind of have dealt with that my whole life. In high school, I played softball, very good at softball, but I was a choker. Like 100% of the time, I choked all the time. And so, as I started getting better, I wanted to be better on the platform. It was making me insane that I couldn't put it together on a platform. So I used a ton of affirmations, like constantly, like all the time. these affirmations, like, my name is Jennifer Millican and I'm an IPF World Champion. Like, I'll use verbal affirmations in my brain constantly just to like stomp out those fears, just to stop the noise in my head of being scared of failing. So that's what works for me. Yeah, I do some visualization, but I'm more heavy on verbal affirmations, and the more scared I get, the more I'll do it. And I'll, like going into IPF Worlds, I would say it out loud, which I felt really dumb doing at first, but like driving in my car, I would like say, my name is Jennifer Millican and I'm an IPF World Champion. Like I would say it, and like the first time I said it, I was like a quiet, scared mouse, and then like as I got into it, I was like yelling it, you know. So, you know, it's almost like I'm overcompensating for my fears.
Well, you know, it's so interesting. You make the point of when you first say it, there's a somewhat, almost what you might consider a somewhat negative reaction.
Sure.
And I think it just goes to show just the dichotomy between what you say you want to have happen and what is kind of, as kind of weird as this is to say, what's in line with like your physiology.
Sure. Yep.
And yeah, it's just like anything else. It's a matter of brute force and repetition to bring them in line.
It's one of the heavy influences on that whole concept. I read this book a long time ago. It's called Jesus CEO. But one of the things he talks about is if your words were a cloak. If your words about yourself were a cloak, what would your cloak say? So oftentimes people will say negative things about themselves, like, I have a poverty bench. Like that's all the time what people say. And you know, I'm guilty of it too. We're all guilty of it. But I think when you become aware of what it is that you're saying about yourself and what it is that you want to achieve, if you can like align those things, it's pretty phenomenal what happens in your brain, in your mind.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's again, it's a weird thing because it's almost more acceptable to be self-deprecating in the way that you speak, you talk about yourself, and that's, you know, depending on who you roll with, people might say, no, like, you know, talk yourself up. But social media, in person, otherwise, it's like people don't bat an eye if they're like, this sucks, or I suck, or whatever the case may be. But if you're like, I'm a champion, some people will be like, what?
Right.
But people that get it understand that, hey, it's part of the conditioning, it's part of the training.
And I think it takes a lot, for me personally anyways, it takes a lot more courage for me to say those things about me. Like it's easier for me to be self-deprecating, to say negative things about myself, as opposed to, you know, giving myself the credit for what I'm actually capable of, or what I've actually done, or the progress that I've made. You know, it's more difficult to do that, in my opinion, for me, than to be self-deprecating, because that part's easy. But to be happy for yourself is sometimes not as easy.
Yeah, right you are, ironically enough. Well, Jen, I really do appreciate both you and Wade having us here at the Over Compound. It's great. Hopefully I'll be back sooner than later.
Yes.
And I'll definitely be seeing you guys at Nationals.
Yes, looking forward to it.
This year. I guess really just to maybe wrap up, and I think this conversation in the last 5 minutes, you know, pretty much answered a lot of what this question might entail, but what advice might you impart onto, let's say, the super busy mom, family person who's got an entire life outside of what they're doing on their fitness game? Let's say they may or may not want to be powerlifting world champion, but haven't really found their lane, haven't found their place on where to start. What words of advice might you impart?
I would say just keep trying different things. You know, I always say to mothers, new mothers, old mothers, all the mothers, or anyone for that matter, you have to take care of yourself first. You know, I'm no good to my family if I haven't loved myself first. So you just gotta find what works. Keep chipping away at it. Keep trying different things and figure out the thing that you enjoy the most, what you get the most fulfillment out of, and make it work for your schedule so it's not so stressful, so it doesn't make the rest of your life stressful. You know, I carve out this much of time at 5:30 in the morning. I don't have to feel guilty about coming in here, and I get to come in here and lift heavy things, and then I get to go home to my family and be better to them for it. So
Yeah.
just keep trying, keep moving, switching it up until you find what works.
Yeah.